Okay, good morning. It's July 7th. If you're on the East Coast, it's 12:36 in the morning. Okay, now I haven't made a video in 2 months, and I want to keep this short. The title, LeBron James, he came, he conquered, and it's time to go. By now, you have seen, read, and listened to lots of viewpoints on James, his latest move here, which was to bring his son to the Lakers. He never made that unclear. He's been very, very vocal about that. So it is happening. It happened. And with that, there's been a lot of criticism, just a ton of criticism about that. I posted this on my community wall. People don't stop by very often, but I'll say this here, which is LeBron James is doing what any well connected parent does for their offspring. That's look out for them, um, get them the best job possible. Doesn't matter whether they're qualified or not, but that's what WASP parents do all the time. Why should anybody expect LeBron James to be different in this regard? His generational wealth, he's a billionaire, that's secure for his family and uh, grandchildren and so forth if it's handled correctly, which I'm sure it will be. So there's that. He came in the NBA straight from high school. That happens far more frequently than it used to, although it has happened in the 70s and 80s as well. The 70s, the best example I can give, because it's the one off the top of my head at the moment, and that is the late Daryl Dawkins, who joined Philadelphia with Dr. J. And for those who may not be familiar with Daryl Dawkins, he's the one who used to smash the glass, do those glorious dunks that people loved very much. So, and I didn't know that he came out of high school and straight into the NBA, which I remember asking a relative who's far more familiar with these things if that was somewhat normal. And he told me no, not really. So, especially in the 70s, right? Where college was still, very much that's you have to go to college and then you go to the NBA. But leaving that aside, he's had a 20-year run, and think about it. When we think about James, when you think about Brady, when you think about Brett Favre, when you think about these athletes who have had 20 to 22 years in any given sport, Serena Williams in tennis, um, it's very difficult to have a long, sustaining career. Yes, for the most part, free of injuries, although there have been many in these cases. I'm citing these examples, and but they've been able to come back. And so that in and of itself says a whole lot, because the average career, I don't know about the NBA, but I know about the NFL, the average career is 3 to 5 years, and then you're gone. So 20 years is a very long time. Time to grow, uh, change. We know that LeBron James was his name is constantly associated with a lot of criticism. I don't know if it's because people thought he didn't live up to the king moniker, which I would disagree with, because he didn't anoint himself King James. Mainstream media did. He ran with it. what was he supposed to do? Not say, was he supposed to crown himself prince? No, I don't think so. So he's got 4 rings. Um, I don't think a fifth one is coming. He's not going to surpass Jordan there. And if when you look at sports, it doesn't matter whether it's soccer or tennis or golf. When you look at sports in general, you don't see 2 or 3 teams, if it's a team sport, Major League Baseball or NFL, really, really dominating like that. Yes, you can make a case right now for the Kansas City Chiefs, but I don't expect that to last much longer. So the fact that you can get a ring, let alone 4, is something. Did I ever think that he would surpass Jordan? You know, people have to start looking at the eras. The history is very important. And knowing the eras in which a lot of these incredibly talented athletes were playing, that makes a significant difference. It does. So today's athlete, I don't see anyone, and no, I'm not a fortune teller here, but I can't see that really happening again where there are just 2 people or 3 people, one person that dominates ever. It's just so competitive, and there's so much talent. It's always been incredibly competitive. There's always been a lot of talent, but the landscape of sports has changed, and so I think that no, like I said, it's not going to be dominated like it was. So he fulfilled part of his legacy, right? 4 rings. The other part of his legacy, he wanted to play with his son. That's the other part of his legacy. He gets to fulfill that too. So no matter how people think Bronny James is going to work out, time will tell. Especially when his father, he's not playing alongside his father. Will he develop into the player? Time will tell. We'll see. But for now, he is where he is, playing alongside dad. He's going to get all that criticism. I hope, and I think, and I know that dad is preparing him for that. So, it is what it is there. And people are going to continue to be very, very vocal about James as they have been throughout his career. But as far as I'm concerned, he came, he conquered, and yes, it is time to go. I think that this will be his last year. It's what, 40, 41, somewhere in there. 20 years, and that's just in the NBA. That doesn't take into account high school, middle school, and, you know, elementary school. So that's a lot of pressure on those joints, especially when you're a certain height and running up and down the court. That's hard on the joints. So that's my 2 cents on all of this. I know that those channels that are devoted to basketball exclusively, and even if they're not, they're going to continue to talk for a long time. Actually, probably until the man retires next year. I really do believe he will retire next year. Um, about the choice he made, bringing his son in. And again, I say he's not doing what any other well-connected parent wouldn't do in that situation. We see it all the time. And if you have the means and the opportunity, you do the same thing for your son or daughter. But these are my observations, my thoughts. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you again.